What's up, guys? It's your boy Fusion Master 9000, and listen, I don't know what I've titled this video, but I needed an excuse to talk about the center position. Why the center position? Because if you've used Fusion at all, you've come to a point where this has given you problems, and the reason this has probably given you problems is, let's say you're animating something with the center position, right? Whoop, left to right, that's great. Well, when you look at the property, you'll notice that it's changed in terms of displacement and not in terms of X and Y. Hey, that's great. You know, for the most part, that makes our life easier because we're dealing with one property instead of changing two. But there are moments when you're using a transform node, a merge node, or even a rectangle node or a mask node where you're dealing with the center property here, and you would like to only change either the X or Y or access only the X or Y variable. Because if you're starting to work with expressions like I am, you'll know that if I want to use just the X point from the center position, it's not as straightforward as you might think. So there's a few solutions to this. One, and the smartass answer, is to just add a different transform node, right? So instead of the one with XF, we can use the other transform node here. And this already has our position split up in X and Y terms, okay? So depending on how motivated you are and how complicated your Fusion composition is, you can always try to throw in something like this. However, that's not always a great solution. So another option, and this is the one that I was using for a while until I figured out this new and improved method, is when you add in a transform node, what you can do is, if you would like to actually split this up into X and Y coordinates, you can right click on your center position, go modify with, and then, ooh, come on, X, Y path. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna unlock the modifier tab. If I click over here, you'll see it starts with our X and Y position already keyframed because we're modifying them. I can uncheck those, and again, have our X and Y position already split up. Okay, so again, I have a rectangle moving left to right here. What if I would like our circle here to do the opposite, so go from right to left? Well, the manual way of doing this, right, would be to go and add a new, man, I can spell, transform node, and then re-keyframing the same animation. Or, and what you might try doing is taking this transform node over here, copying it with Control-C, pasting it underneath here, and now we've got the same motion, right? So we're both moving left to right. And your first thought might be, well, okay, if I want it to go right to left, I just take these 2 points and then go to my spline, then hit reverse. But what that's done is it's not only flipped the easing motion of our graph, right? So now our ease is off, but what we've done is instead just said, okay, I want you to start at your starting location and then shift to the right. So the motion is completely backwards. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Well, I got you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a new transform node here, okay? We're gonna add a new transform node here. And this is the main purpose of this video. This is the one thing that I really wanted to talk about because I don't see enough people mentioning this. If I select one of my transform nodes, right, it doesn't matter which one, and I hover over our center property, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see that it says transform1.center. And if you're thinking ahead, one of the issues with this property is it does not separate the X and Y property. So if I were to go in and, just as an example, add an expression or the size to try to link it back to my center position, for whatever reason, I could type in transform1.center, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna error out, okay? Because our center property here is a point property, meaning that it's storing 2 variables. If you're familiar with coding, this property would be analogous to something like an array. So in order to access either just the X or the Y variable on our property, what we can do is we can type in transform1.center.x. I come from using MATLAB, so this kind of variable is called a struct. By adding this period in X, we now allow ourselves to access the X variable, and we can do the exact same thing if we wanted to with the Y property. So all I have to do is add a .x here, and it's gonna be kind of a weird example, but you'll notice that the size and the X position are one in the same. And if you're like me, your little wheels are turning now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this, get rid of this, because this is just for an example. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to use this information to our advantage on the transform2 property. So what we're gonna do is on our transform2 node, right? This is the one that's hooked up to my ellipse over here. I'm gonna right click, hit expression. You'll see that it's already different than if we were to add an expression to any of these other fields because it comes up as a point property. Now, real quick, if you are somebody who's trying to understand these things on a deeper level, man, check out the help manual. It lives up top here in this help option, and you can go over to DaVinci Resolve reference manual, and in the manual, it covers examples of how to use point properties. So you'll see that it mentions using that .x extension. So now what I'm gonna do is in this first field, I'm going to have it equal our X position here on our transform one property. So I'm gonna go over here and where it says 0.5, I'm gonna type in transform one dot center dot X. It equals. Now, as is, all we've basically done is we've copied and pasted our transform node, right? So they're moving in the same direction. But now if I wanted to flip the direction, all I need to do is take this property and subtract it from 1. You'll see that now we go off to the left and come into the center. The follow-up question of this is, well, why not just do the minus sign? Well, if you were to just do the minus sign, what you're going to do is you're going to mirror this animation. So what it would do is it would appear on this left quadrant over here, and it would go in the opposite direction, but you're flipping it across this 0 axis point. So by subtracting our center position from 1, what we're doing is we're taking this axis and subtracting the change in this motion. Kind of funky to explain, but just know that if you're trying to mirror something like that, all we need to do is subtract it by 1. And before you click off this video real quick, give me 2 more seconds to show you why this can be extremely useful. Because as is, DaVinci Resolve right now doesn't have an align function, okay? I don't know why it doesn't, but it does not have an align function. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to mask out this nice lady's face here, but I wanted her position with my mask to be directly center frame. Well, normally what you do, again, is you go over to your transform node, and you go and you'd be like, I guess that's pretty much the center right there. Well, we don't have to do guesswork. We can use our big smart brains now and set an expression for our transform property, and we'll use that exact same concept. So in our rectangle property, the rectangle center is rectangle1.center. What I could do, go over our transform node and then go in here and type in rectangle1.center.x, comma. I know this is going to be pretty small for you guys, so hopefully editor Brandon has zoomed in on this location so it's nice and legible. Bang. Okay, so now what I've done is I've entered in the center properties. Again, we had the same issues, right? So now we're just mirroring where the rectangle is located. So if I want it to be directly in the center, you guessed it, we do 1 minus, 1 minus, bang. And it will be dead smack, oh, too close. Dead smack dab center of your screen. No matter where I move my rectangle, you'll see that it stays locked in center on our second display. So I could look at the laptop, I could look at the spoons, you get the point. This video is brought to you by Peach's Super Duper All Effects Pack. Hey, if you're looking to have every single After Effects tool minus 1 or 2 in DaVinci Resolve, go check out his pack. It's incredible. Peach is awesome. There'll be an affiliate link in the description. Hope the video helped you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.